Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced, developer advocate here at Dremio, with another demonstration of an SQL function using Dremio. And today we're going to be going over the log function, which is going to allow you to basically take two numbers and figure out sort of like the logarithm, essentially like how they move together and sort of like the strength of that relationship using this log function. So we're going to basically, this is oftentimes used in like finance, so this is why we're going to use a financial example. Basically here we're going to have the year of the investment data, and then we're going to have the value of the investment. So essentially we're assessing the movement of the value of the investment over several years. Here we have the data. Okay, so here's the data for the year and the value of the investment at that point in time. And what we want to do is just kind of understand sort of how it grows. So like basically, is it like doubling every year, like the general sort of rate of growth? Okay, so as we can see here, what we're going to do is use a log function, and then what we do is we pass in the investment value, okay, as, well, investment value, and that's going to give us our logarithm. Okay, now here in this other query, we're going to do the same thing, except that we can pass in two arguments. So instead of just passing in the log, we can actually include a base, so that way it can use that base to do a calculation. So like a base of 2 is really good for kind of understanding sort of like the doubling or the rate of doubling of the investment. So we have that. So actually, let's just run this query, but let me make sure I change my context. So we're using our demo folder. So my demos, January 2024, January, there we go. Okay, no longer using that test folder. Okay, so I'm gonna click run, and I'll run all the queries in the context of that particular folder where these tables do not exist. And I will hit run, and we'll begin creating the table. And again, all this code can be found in the video description in the link to the repo in the video description, and there you'll find the code from this and all the videos in this series, so that way if you want to replicate any of these demos yourself or alter them or read the comments, it's there. Okay, and along with a lot of other really cool resources. So let's take a look at the results. Okay, so when we do the just normal logarithm, okay, so you can see like the rate, and basically what you're capturing here is just sort of the absolute value isn't going to be as important as the actual like sort of like the growth rate. So you can see here, it grew around, like if you say from the beginning to the end, it's about like 27-ish% increase in its value, just straight up without factoring in like compound interest and all that kind of stuff. And you can see that that's kind of reflective of how you see like these first two digits change here. But again, more so what you're doing is you're capturing sort of like that rate of growth. So like the more these numbers change from one to the next, sort of like the bigger the growth rate. Okay, there's different ways to kind of capture sort of a more fine-tuned number, like doing something like an internal rate of return calculation, whatnot. Bring me back to my days in the finance industry. And using all sorts of present value calculations, all that. Oh, memories. But then here we're doing the log with a base 2. Again, same concept. Mainly what you're paying attention to is just sort of like the change in the number and the sharpness of that change, showing you like the bigger the change, like the bigger sort of the growth rate from one year to the next is. But yeah, so that's one way you can kind of assess the relationship of growth, or use it as a piece of a larger calculation. But yeah, my name is Alex Merced, developer advocate here at Dremio. Here you go. And again, you can find all the code in the video description.